over land right now over Cuba, and will stay that way through the next almost 24 hours until tomorrow morning. It'll come off of Cuba right here. But they do this so that they can issue watches and warnings, because they do think that by the time it comes off of Cuba, across the Florida Straits into the Gulf towards Florida, the west coast of Florida, that we're going to need some tropical storm watches and warnings. And in fact, we have those. That's the reason why they call that potential tropical cyclone. Now, winds at 30 miles per hour. Nothing too much has changed about the actual structure. Again, the center over land, that really keeps it from getting too strong, because it needs that warm water underneath of it to have the functions, the physics that actually make it get stronger, right? That water is the fuel for the fire, and they just don't have it under the center. These storms do. They will stay strong, I think, throughout the afternoon. You can see some waves of rain through the northern Bahamas now. Yeah, you could call those outskirts, outer rain bands, if you will. Here is the first track from the Hurricane Center, and you can see through tonight into tomorrow morning, staying weak. 30 mile per hour winds, which it has now, 35 by tomorrow as it's coming off of Cuba. As you see, it's starting to strengthen. You can see our watches as well. The yellow is a tropical storm watch for the Keys, tropical storm warning for Marco Island, Naples, and then basically from Fort Myers all the way up through Pasco County, we now have a tropical storm watch, and that includes some of our inland counties, and I'll show you that coming up. Let's get to the track and the timing. So here we go. Saturday night, 40 mile per hour winds. The center is southwest of Marco Island. Not a huge storm coming at us, more of a rainmaker than anything else, right? But the winds will be increasing. 50 mile per hour winds by Sunday morning, very close to Manatee County, Sarasota County beaches. All right, the Hurricane Center has the center coming right across Pinellas County. Some models are actually a little bit to the right, but you can see the cone is way over here in Polk County, or way out offshore, about 100 miles out towards the middle grounds, right? What this cone means is that center point could go anywhere in there. But we are thinking right along the coast, perhaps a little bit further to the east of the line that's right there, we'll see. But 50 mile per hour winds, that is the highest forecast wind while it's in the Gulf, right? But we've got to keep an eye on that. Intensity forecast is tough to do. But I'm thinking 45, 55 mile per hour winds, those highest numbers obviously right around the coast. Now, this is important, because if the center hits southern Pinellas County, the onshore winds are here blowing a little bit of water. We're thinking 1 to 3 foot storm surge. Not terrible, but 1 to 3 foot surge. And then the winds are blowing offshore from northern Pinellas and Pasco. The water will actually drop there. But that's all in the details, and that's still too far out in time to tell exactly where that's going to make landfall. What we were focusing on is that 50 mile per hour wind. We don't want any more than that, obviously. Now, Sunday morning, 8 a.m., Monday morning, 8 a.m. Look where it goes from there to there. So what will happen here in the Tampa area is we will have our worst weather late Saturday night, really like 4 or 5 in the morning on Sunday through Sunday afternoon. Sunday evening, closer to sunset, it's pulling away, and it's moving up towards North Florida. Then the folks in the Carolinas will have to deal with it, but that's going to be a strengthening system for them. They'll probably get more wind with it in coastal Carolina than we will get with it here. So here are our watches. Tropical Storm Watch, including Fort Myers, Sanibel, all the way up to the Pasco-Hernando line. It does include Polk County. It does include Hardy, DeSoto counties. Manatee, Sarasota, obviously Pinellas, and Hillsborough. Here are the forecast tracks, and you can see on the models, you see where I'm saying maybe go a little bit more to the east. This has been a trend in the last 12 hours or so, but there are still models out here that are taking it further to the west. Now, here's the deal. The 50 mile per hour winds is a good thing for us. We don't want as much wind, right? That's happening because it's limited amount of time over water from Cuba to here. If it goes further out here, it's over warmer water longer, and it can get stronger. So we're rooting for this one right here, 50 mile per hour winds or so at landfall. This is our forecast model that we run here at the station, and I want to show you this as it comes by. That is Sunday in the morning. That's 3 to 4 in the afternoon. That's around midnight. Didn't stop there, but you get the idea of where it's going to go. So flooding will be more of an issue, I think, than anybody else. And if the center does come in here, we're going to end up seeing more rain east of that center as we get into Saturday night, really Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. There's a tornado threat with that on the right side of the center as well. And then this is even Monday morning at 11 o'clock. It's gone by at this point, but look at the trailing rain bands behind it. Those can rain over the same area And so we will still have to be watching for a flooding issue behind that. Likely going to get about 6 to 8 inches of rainfall for inland locations, 1 to 4. Yeah, some areas can only get an inch out of this depending on the track for areas closer to the coast. A lot's going to change here in a little bit. I think we're finally getting closer and closer, though, to what we can expect. We know the timing is going to be late Saturday night into Sunday. If you're doing any kind of preparations, you want to have those done by sunset Saturday afternoon. That's tomorrow afternoon. That way, it's just a lot easier to get things done in the daylight. We will look at the forecast models. We're getting ready to have the 10 news coming up here at noon. We'll have the latest on that. Right now, we'll be following us here on 10 Tampa Bay and all of our social platforms.